AITA for telling my siblings that if they had been more cold-hearted they wouldn't be in a mess right now. I am NC with my parents and LC with most of my family. My parents have never been very stable people in any sense of the word. Growing up with them was essentially lurching from one totally avoidable disaster to another, and it took a major toll on me and my siblings, just in different ways. To be fair, the majority of both my parents' families are also burning tire fires, so they didn't have to go anywhere to steal it. I decided in my teens that I was going to get out and not look back, so I worked hard in school, stayed away from anything that could get me in trouble, and moved in with a friend's family and emancipated at 16. The last thing my dad said to me before I cut them off was asking whether I was going to chip in on the bills for the month. I told my siblings what was going on and that I wouldn't be around, but they could call me if they, not my parents, really needed help. I also told them that if they were smart they would do the same and to let me know when they were ready to leave. Well, they never did. I had a rough time at first, but I've managed to do very well for myself and I have a comfortable life. My parents just got worse and are now both critically ill and disabled in some way. I haven't talked to either of them since I was 17. I have low contact with my siblings now because they abused the offer of help too many times, some out of pressure from our parents and some on their own. None of them got out. My brothers still live with our parents, my sister lives near them with a bad news boyfriend. They're all struggling financially and make a lot of the same mistakes as our parents made. My father had a stroke recently and will need round-the-clock care for the rest of his life. At-home healthcare is too expensive, nobody in the family who is able can swing the time or financial hit to stay home with him. A nursing home is the only viable solution, but beds are apparently scarce and the ones they can find are too expensive. They want me to chip in. I told them no. They said that they're already skint from helping my parents with their medical bills and expenses. I told them I've given my parents every last bit of money they're getting. My oldest brother said that I was cold-hearted and it's the least I could do after abandoning them. I told him that if he and the younger two had been more cold-hearted they wouldn't be stuck pouring money and time into the two most useless people on the planet, and I'd choose cold-hearted any day. So they think I'm an obviously. The only thing that gets me is I do feel bad for them. It's not fair that my parents are still ruining my siblings' lives. It's not an insignificant amount of money to me, but it wouldn't be a real problem. On the other hand, I don't want to be on the hook again for my family's stupid decisions. Comment. You managed to be the only one of your siblings to break the cycle of toxicity that surrounds your family. Do not let them drag you back in. Your parents made bad decisions, your siblings have made bad decisions, and it is not your responsibility to bail them out yet again. You tried to help them dig out of the mire they were in, but they chose to stay and sink. Don't beat yourself up for that. It sounds like an awful situation, but I think you're right to keep your distance. You don't want to get dragged back in, which is perfectly understandable. If you are in the US and your parents are on Medicare, you can get a bed in a nursing home, might not be a high-end one. Your family needs to speak with the local state agency that handles aging and disability issues. You may want to just do a quick Google search or something to make sure that you're not in a state that will try and make you pay because you're related to your father/mother, can't remember if the precise name. I think there are protections on that in some cases, but could be worth a look. NTA for being NC with your parents and not helping with the medical bills, but you were a little harsh with your words. It's not easy to leave your family behind, even if they are total asshats. You could do it and it's great for you. I have also gone NC with some of my relatives, but one of my siblings couldn't. It's all around sad situation and little bit of empathy isn't too much to ask. I think after 17 years of NC and still managing to be manipulated by her siblings, she's probably done. I would put money that she's verbalist that she's not helping her parents in every nice way imaginable over the last almost 2 decades, and the siblings are too far under the parents' thumb / are rapidly becoming like her parents that they just refuse to accept it. Next story 2. AITA for convincing my friend to stop paying child support. My friend, Ty, fake name, had 2 kids with his ex-GFD, also fake. They only dated for 2 months, but 2 weeks after they broke up, D said she was pregnant with twins. D was crazy. She is rude, manipulative, condescending, and lazy, which came out in the 2nd month they were together. Both Ty and I grew up in poverty and without fathers, so he was adamant in being a good father to his daughters and providing for her. It was to the point that he was giving away half of his paycheck to D, about $3K out of his $6K monthly income. He also spent every weekend, a few lunch breaks a week, and various trips with his daughters, all without D, who was only interested in him bringing her back food or paying for a trip so she could leave and do her own thing without actually spending time with her kids. Everyone knows that Ty puts his kids first and is super proud of them. He's the one who takes them to school, helps with homework, sets up B-day parties, goes to parent/teacher conferences, etc. All without D, who couldn't care less. D and Ty got into an argument, during my birthday party, about changing the girls' school. Ty wanted to change to a better school out of the D's bad neighborhood and D wanted them to stay where they were. She argued that she has full custody so it's her decision. He said he takes them to school, goes to P/T conferences, does everything regarding school, etc. so it should be his say. She said she's the mom and it's her decision and he said he's the father, so he gets a say too. Then she decided to be petty and dropped the bombshell that neither child was his. She admitted that she cheated on him while they were together and she decided Ty would be the dad because he made the most money. She even told him to get a paternity test. Turns out she was right. Neither was his. He was devastated. He wouldn't talk to anyone for a month. Ty eventually went back to D and said that he loved his daughters and wanted to be in their lives anyway. D said no, that his attitude and overreaction to the news meant she had to do more work with the kids, everything he used to do, and that he was selfish. She threatened to get a restraining order if he tried to see the kids again. I don't think that's how restraining orders work, but he believed her. This is where I may be the When he talked to me about what he should do, I told him to at least stop paying child support, which he had not stopped doing yet. That she had been lying to him to steal half of his income for years. He listened and D got all shocked PK face and went online, blasting him online. She and the kids have to move to a smaller APT, live with fewer luxuries, etc. Everyone saw him as a great dad and now they see him as a deadbeat. The girls he loves are also suffering since D relies on a minimum wage job, her first ever job. And now Ty's family blames me. They claim that my advice ruined everything. I feel like I'm getting more hate than D. AITA. Comment. But he needs to get a lawyer to get this mess sorted. Especially if his name is on the birth certificates. Sad part is, even if his name isn't on the certificate, court might just decide that he has to keep paying because the kids see him as the father and the kids' needs come first so he must pay despite not being the father. Because the courts are biased they don't want the state to have to pick up the money that the mom would probably get. It's not fair, it's not right. I am a woman and I think that this is screwed up. If he has a DNA test and it proves that he's not their father and that she lied, he will need a lawyer if he wants to get his name off the birth certificate. It may cost him money but in the long run it might be cheaper. I am not a lawyer. Just giving my opinion. Incorrect. Child support court is completely separate from custody/visitation court and CS court will not get involved in custody court issues. He would have to go back to the custody court and file a modification of custody/parenting responsibilities. But even if court would decide to keep him paying child support, this amount to pay will be definitely less than half of his income. So, going to court and asking to reconsider paternity and monetary obligations is the most useful advice. He's not their dad, why hasn't D gone to him for child support? Why would he continue to pay for children that aren't his, that he doesn't get to see, and in the eyes of the law he has no rights? God, this situation sucks. I don't know if it's even possible, but maybe he could file for custody on the grounds of her destructive behavior and that he's been a father to them for all their lives and his mom can't provide a life out of poverty for them. I don't think it's unreasonable for him to stop paying child support since she wasn't even letting him see them, but I do feel bad for those kids. It would be hella traumatic to had the only guy they've known as a father ripped away from them. Maybe he could negotiate with her to start paying again if things go back to how they used to be. Edit. Did he get the paternity test results firsthand himself, or did she tell him the results? He should push back this lying gold digger and expose her lies and shamelessly committed fraud. He should also contact the district attorney and pursue fraud charges criminally by handing all of this evidence to them. Finally, he should sue to recover every dime. Make it so that, if this thieving harpy wins the lottery, he wins the lottery. Lastly, if he's on the birth certificate, he should consider suing for full custody. If this harpy has her hooks in so deep they lied on a government document, penalty of perjury, then he's legally those kids' father. He should call her bluff and end the child support arrangement by taking custody. She's obviously a small-time criminal playing horrible mind games with her children and an unfit parent. Go after her.